Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. I'm Pinky Webb. Today on the program, no Omicron COVID-19 variant case detected yet in the country, but the government interagency task force says it is preparing for the worst. Also, the government eyes to fully vaccinate 90% of Filipinos by next year. And later, is Metro Manila ready for Alert Level 1? Health Secretary Francisco Duque joins us live. The Health Department reports that no Omicron variant has been detected in the latest sequencing run of the Philippine Genome Center. The World Health Organization says the new variant is now present in 57 countries so far. The DOH warns that the entry of the new variant is only a matter of time. Let's go straight to the source of this story. We have Health Secretary Francisco Duque. Secretary Duque, welcome back to the source. Good to see you again, sir.
Well, same here. Good to see you, and good morning to you and all your viewers in behalf of the Department of Health and the Interagency Task Force.
Secretary, the good news is there's still no Omicron variant detected in the latest genome sequencing that was released yesterday. Of course, that is good to hear, but what I first want to ask you is, are we actually genome sequencing enough?
Well, enough to be able to detect a variant of concern. So that's what we continue to do, and we have been expanding the biosurveillance capacity of the country, and in particular that of the Philippine Genome Center. So we continue to invest in expanding our capacity.
I guess I need to question that word enough. You're saying that we are genome sequencing enough. We look at the past this week where we have positive cases. I averaged it, sir, at about 400 per day. And in the latest genome sequencing that was released yesterday, there were 48 that were genome sequenced and 38 are Delta. In my mind, sir, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that seems like a small sampling.
Well, we have to understand we needed to prioritize the returning overseas Filipinos with the threat of the Omicron variant. But by and large, the cases kasi have plummeted, Pinky. No? So kakonti ang kaso na natin sa ngayon. Hopefully, it stays that way. Our ADAR is less than 1. Our 2-week growth rate. No? Again, these are metrics of our case incidence, no? Is negative 57. So ang baba lahat. So ang sinisequence natin, we are targeting the ROFs.
Okay. I understand what you're saying, and it is good news, as I mentioned a while ago. Sabi nga din po ng Okta, we are at a very low risk, no, Metro Manila. But I'm still surprised why there were only 48 genome sequenced in yesterday's release of the result. Kasi sir, kung sabi ko nga kanina, kung i-average po natin yung cases from Monday to yesterday, I'll give you the numbers. Thursday, 500, Wednesday, 370, Tuesday, 356, and Monday, 543. I would average that at about 400. So again, that leads me to my earlier question. Parang ang konti lang po nung genome sequence. And in the past, I understand, in the many interviews I've made, during the height of Delta, we were able to genome sequence about, if I'm not mistaken, about 600 per week.
700.
700. So is there a move? Do you feel that this should be more tests, more COVID positive tests should be genome sequenced in the next few days and in the next weeks as well?
Yes, of course. They continue to run this. No? So they try to maximize the panel or the testing capacity. So kaya-kaya man nila yan, yung 700. So we're doing that. Kaya parang kaunti, yung minamadali natin yung piecemeal, pinipiecemeal natin, Pinky, para nga Precisely, tama ka, para ma-detect natin yung Omicron variant kung meron na nga ba sa Pilipinas.
Okay. Do you think, though, I know that government has been saying that it's not a matter of if, but a matter of when papasok po si Omicron dito. Do you think, Secretary, that Omicron is already here at hindi lang po natin nakikita or natetest pa?
Mahirap magsalita nang wala naman akong batayan. Kung personal ko lang na nagsususpecha ba ako, madali magsuspecha. Lalo na kung alam natin 57 countries na ang may naiulat na Omicron variant. But we have to be science and evidence-based. No? So let's wait until that result of the whole genome sequencing comes out. No?
There are still 7 individuals supposedly not found that came from South Africa. The problem, sir, of course, is that the information they wrote was incorrect. Do you have any update? This was originally 8. 1 was already found, but there are 7 that's still being located. Any update on them?
Yeah, well, we already have actually 4 ROFs who have been finally located. 2 are undergoing facility-based quarantine with pending RT-PCR results. 1 is in home quarantine and however a negative RT-PCR test result. And 1 has completed his 14-day quarantine and has been discharged. No? So of the 3 unlocated passengers, no, kasi 4 na nga yung nalocate, all are sea-based OFWs, no, based on the report to me, with local addresses in Region 4B and Region 10, but all had negative results based on the submission to the COVID document repository system for the CDRS.
We understand, of course, no, Secretary, that they're being located because they were able to enter the country prior to South Africa being part of the ban or the red list countries. Kaya po the attempt to find them. In the future, though... Tracing, rather, to trace them. In the future, though...
Tracing. Yeah.
Opo. This could be a potential problem kasi nga nahirapan pong hanapin. Originally, yung 8, tapos ngayon 7, tapos ngayon 3 na lang po yung hinahanap. Ano? This, as I mentioned a while ago, this is a problem because of incomplete data or wrong data, whether intentional or unintentionally done. How can this be prevented? Because mahirap ho yung ganito na hindi ho sila mahanap.
Well, what I'm planning to suggest to the IATF, no, and to the DILG is, but we have to clear this, no, because there are legal implications in having their names printed or published para malaman ng kapitbahay, ito pala yon, hinahanap ka, or you know, that could be helpful, but it's not without legal, possible legal consequences, no. So we just, for now, continuously remind our people to please, no? Pwede lang po talaga ilagay natin yung tamang kasagutan sa mga tanong sa inyo pong health declaration form. No? Napakamahalaga po ito. Huwag na po natin pahirapan para din po sa inyong kapakanan yan at sa inyo pong mga kapamilya. At sa inyo pong komunidad para hindi po kayo makapanghawa kung sakasakaling kayo ay na meron palang variant or COVID Omicron variant. So far yung ganun lang, but maganda sana ma-publish yung pangalan para mas maraming makatulong sa pagtukoy or paghanap sa kanila.
You're just unsure of the possible legal implications, Secretary, kaya
Correct.
po.
Yes, but we will still push it. I will push it and see to what extent I can do that, because I strongly feel that this is a weakness, no, in the system, and sometimes unintended consequences of certain laws that weaken our ability to do more effective contact tracing, no, or back tracing in this particular regard.
Yeah, we have to also think about it that obviously how important this is. That's why I was saying a while ago, this could be a potential problem, especially kung there is very preliminary information on Omicron in terms of severity, transmissibility, and its efficacy, vaccine efficacy. Pero ibig ko sabihin, sir, the reason we write down the pertinent information in our submissions is because when something like this happens, we need to be found. We need to be traced. We need to be tracked.
Exactly. That's an area where we need to improve our capabilities. No? But we have to clear for some legal obstacles. No? So we might have to test to what extent we can do, publishing names of people who have not completely disclosed the details asked of them by way of the health declaration forms. No? So tingnan natin. So I'm going to communicate with the DOJ on this matter because I still feel that we should be able to do all of this in the midst of public health emergency situation we are in. No?
All right. So far, there are 15 countries included in the red list. I want to ask you, Secretary Duque, is there a chance na madagdagan po ito? But we need to take a very short break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Pinky Webb. Our guest today, Health Secretary Francisco Duque. Secretary, banned countries are part of the red list, 15 so far, France being the latest one. Are you looking at any other country that could possibly be included under the red list category?
Well, that really depends, Pinky, on the metrics that the IATF has adopted. So the case incidence, for example, that's one of the indicators that we're looking at. And then the test to case ratio, the testing rate is the third metric. And then, of course, we have the secondary metric of local transmission of Omicron variant in the countries, and all of these will be considered in deciding whether they ought to be included in the red list or not.
In the UK, I've been reading, Secretary, that there is a steep trajectory. In fact, they're looking at possibly 1 million cases by the end of this month, by the end of December. Is this something that is concerning? Should the United Kingdom be part of the red list?
Well, our epidemiology bureau is monitoring the situation in various countries, especially those registering very steep increases in their cases. No? So I will have to defer to my epidemiology bureau and ask them what is the latest. Are the metrics that I have mentioned to you, for example, the case incidence, is if it is less than 50 over the last 28 days, for countries with 100,000 or more population, that is low risk. No? Pero yung atin high risk, if they register more than 500 cases for the last 28 days for countries or places with a population of greater than 100,000. No? So if they fall squarely within these limits or thresholds, then certainly we will be compelled to include them in the red list. But again, also looking at evidence or signals of whether there has been a local transmission of Omicron variant, and also the test-to-case ratio and the testing rate as additional metrics.
Let's talk about Omicron. What we know so far, help us understand the latest on this in terms of transmissibility, severity, and the efficacy of vaccines. Let's start with transmissibility. What is the latest, Secretary?
Well, there is no conclusive data to show how much more transmissible this Omicron variant is compared to, say, Delta or Alpha. We know that some are saying or suggesting it's twice more transmissible than Delta. So what does that mean? Sa Delta kasi, for every one confirmed case, makakahawa ito anywhere from 5 to 8 other persons. No? And if sinasabi nila, doble ang reproductive rate nitong Omicron, so you're talking about 10 to 16. No? For every detected Omicron case, can infect twice as many as Delta. So we are still awaiting additional data and latest information from both the WHO epidemiology report that comes in every day, as well as complementary reports from the CDC, US CDC. No? So we're watching out. But of course, yeah, that's under normal circumstances, no? When we talk about the reproductive rate. But remember, we have already put in place curbs, no? Like the minimum public health standards, our masking, physical distancing, hand hygiene, prevention of the 3Cs, closed spaces, crowded areas, and close contact settings, and avoiding, establishments with inadequate ventilation, as an example. So all of these are helping bring down the reproductive rate of whatever variant might be in circulation.
How about in terms of severity? What do we know so far?
Well, it's a bit of evolving good news, because it appears that the report from the clinicians, it appears that there is a growing body of evidence and a consensus that this may not be as severe, or perhaps it is less severe than the Delta variant. So that's good news, and we hope to be able to count more information and data from the ground, from the hospitals, from those who are currently managing this particular Omicron variant cases.
Yung pong efficacy on vaccines, there was a report from Pfizer that actually said that an individual needs 3 shots, because it was found out or discovered that with 2 doses, it significantly neutralized the antibodies. But it said that a third increased it by a factor of 25. Frankly, I don't know what by a factor of 25 means, Secretary, pero the point being, Pfizer, BioNTech saying that after 2, the antibodies go down. So hence, the booster is needed.
Yes, that's been basically the concept. With the 2 doses, over time, say about after 6 months, you see a waning of the level of antibody protection, neutralizing antibody protection. That's why that's the concept underpinning the need for a booster dose. So the same is true whether it is for Omicron, and that's a bit of good news if what they say after the 3rd dose, you have a 20-fold increase in the level of protective neutralizing antibodies. Mm-hmm. So it means 20 times. So that's really very high, and that's really quite encouraging.
Yeah.
But it's the same concept operates.
And it's good that, of course, booster shots are now open to everyone as long as you've reached the 6-month mark. But of course, if it's the Johnson & Johnson one, you're looking at the 3-month mark.
We're looking at even advancing the booster booster jabs. No? So maybe 3 months after, if the response is truly much higher in terms of antibody levels. So we're going to defer to our vaccine expert panel on this. No? Dr. Nina Gloriani in particular has been really monitoring the situation very, very closely, because she wants to know and to guide the IATF in terms of policy decisions.
Secretary, I must have missed a portion of what you said. Could you clarify that we were talking about boosters at 6 months, and then you said something about 3 months. Is government considering possibly giving boosters? Is that so after 3 months?
Yeah, we're looking into it. No? So we will submit to the vaccine expert panel what would be the comparative advantage, okay, of giving earlier booster shots. Say, instead of 6 months from the second dose of a primary series, what if we give it 3 months after the second dose? Will that confer even much better, much higher level of protection?
All right. Again, we need to take a very short break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today, Health Secretary Francisco Duque. Secretary, so with regards to boosters, I was looking at the latest numbers. First, for the first dose, we are at 54 million. First full dose or second dose, over 39 million, and boosters are at 643,000. So while you're saying that the panel of experts is also considering possibly giving boosters after 3 months, whether it is Sinovac, Moderna, or Pfizer, let's talk about the December 15 to 17, the second round of vaccination days. The target is what, Secretary, to be able to vaccinate about 7 million individuals?
That is correct, 7 million, and I call upon our people to take advantage of the second round of our massive national vaccination activities. December 15 to 17, we're looking at about 2.33 million jabs per day. So that would be equivalent to about 7 million, but hopefully we exceed the target of 7 million. So this is going to really be a big push. And this will bring us closer to our milestone number 1, which is to completely jab 54 million Filipinos by the end of the year. And then early first quarter of next year to about mid part of the first quarter next year, about 7 million Filipinos shall have been completely inoculated.
Would you say that you've been happy with the pace so far, especially in the past months that there has not been really a problem in supply when it comes to vaccines?
The supplies have obviously stabilized. Since October, we've been receiving anywhere from 1.3 to 1.5 million doses a day. So we have no problems insofar as the supply is concerned. So it's really more the logistical challenges that we are confronted with, and also the demand for more vaccinators. And that is why I also appeal to our healthcare workers in coordination with their local government units to please sign up and form part of the vaccination teams that are extremely important in realizing the targets that we have set during this 3-day vaccination program. Of course, the first round was November 29 to December 1, and the second round, we are in great anticipation that we will be able to reach our target as well. So I want to thank our healthcare workers, our local chief executives, because the first round, that was unprecedented. We were able to jump the highest ever, 2.7 million in one day. And that puts us number 4 in terms of ranking, next to China, India, and the United States. But recall, Pinky, that our population is much, much less than the 3 countries that I mentioned. And if you are going to check to clear for population, we have out-jabbed them, no? By a ratio of 2:1, 2.5:1.
Secretary, just very quickly, no, I wanted to bring this in because there are some apparently areas na walang masyadong nagpupunta for boosters. I heard that in a report. And there could be a number of reasons. And one could also be, secretaries, because number one, mag-a-absent ka sa trabaho. Number two, naririnig po ng tao na kapag mag-vaccinate ka ng booster, masama ang magiging pakiramdam mo. Magkakasakit ka sa susunod na araw at ayaw po nilang mag-absent doon sa araw ng kanilang vaccination. Absent sila, tapos doon sa susunod na araw, kailangan na naman nila mag-absent kasi nga yung mga adverse events na tinatawag ay mararamdaman po ng publiko. Is there a work around this para po we are able to encourage more people to get vaccinated during the 3-day vaccination drive from December 15 to 17?
Wala namang problema yun. The local chief executives, may leeway naman sila. Even I think the private sector, no, will be very accommodating or they understand, no, na kung may sakit, hindi dapat excuse, no? So hindi dapat ito gamitin as a disincentive. They should incentivize. In fact, they should not mark them as absent as much as possible. Because in the end, this is the goal is to really provide protection for everyone. So a greater part of the economy can be reopened, and we can really mitigate, no, the socioeconomic impact of this pandemic. So let's incentivize rather than do the opposite.
Last question, sir. Are we ready for alert level 1?
Alert level 1?
Pero parang alert level 1 na rin naman tayo.
Yeah, right. I think you've answered your own question very, very well. But to me, let's enforce alert level 2. No? Lalo na it's Christmas, the gatherings, the social mobility has increased tremendously. So we really just need to keep it at alert level 2.
Okay.
But of course, I leave it to the IATF and the recommendation of our data analytics and our technical advisory group of experts to guide the IATF, no? Whether it is safe to further de-escalate from level 2 to level 1, given the obtaining circumstances that it is the holiday season, Christmas season, many more people are out shopping. You know, the social mobility is up. The super spreader events are going to be more common occurrence. So, you know, let's take level 2.
Okay, Health Secretary Francisco Duque. Sir, thank you for your time and Merry Christmas to you.
Happy holidays, Pinky. Thank you in behalf of the DOH and the IATF.
And thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.